Hi, this is a short video about the Aspiring Futures Assessment 1, the written portfolio. I've had a few emails from students asking questions that are kind of coming up again and again, so I thought it'd be more useful just to put something out that covers them off. So I'm on the Moodle site here, and you'll see that you can click through to the module handbook, so I'm just going to click on that just now. A few pages into the module handbook is the information you need on the portfolio assessment. So you can see that it's due in 12 noon on the 31st of October. It's a 3,000 word assessment. You've got your up and down of 10% for that. So I just want to give you some guidance on what should be in there and what it should look like. So starting with the module handbook, we've got description of what's supposed to be there. Now the first bit you're doing that you should have started already in tutorials is your PDP and your PDR. You're going to be looking this week in tutorials, or next week, week commencing the 8th of October, at your skills audit and at your continuing professional development. So we want to, by the end of next week, have all 4 pro formas done, and they'll form the kind of back of your portfolio. One of the activities you're going to have to do that you potentially can do during non-teaching week is your interview simulator. So we're asking you to go onto the Careers and Skills portal and run a practice job interview on that portal. Now there's a full set of instructions in Moodle, which I'll point out to you when I click back onto that page. In terms of the portfolio itself, there are really 4 key sections that you need to cover. So your narrative CV, now this isn't a CV, it shouldn't look like a CV, this is a couple of paragraphs about you. And it's to give your reader an idea of who you are, what you're studying, what part-time work you've been doing, what your aspirations are. Just a really quick 2-paragraph introduction to you. So that's what the narrative CV is. The word CV makes it sound as if we're looking for a CV. We're not. It's really just a couple of paragraphs. Hi, I'm this person. I'm studying this subject. This is what I want to do next. And this is my portfolio. So that's really what you're doing. Okay. Your skills discussion is about the skills needed for the roles you'll be seeking in the labour market. Now, you can attack this in a number of different ways. You could pick a job that you're very interested in, use that job description as a kind of reference point and discuss in detail the skills that are needed for it. Okay, and that's you kind of pointing out, this is a job I could do as a business graduate or as a law graduate. Here I'm going to talk about the skills that are needed in that job. If you don't have a specific job you're interested in, or you don't really know what you want to do next, you might pick a particular sector or an employer or a graduate scheme, and you would talk about that in the same way. So you're basically talking about what skills are they looking for. So what's in the essential and the desirable information in the job description, and a bit about that. If you're looking at a sector or a scheme or more than one employer, you're then able to talk about the common skills that are looked for in those jobs. So it might well be communications common, it might well be that, team working's common. So you're then really unpicking some of that. So regardless of what job I go for, as a graduate looking in this area, I'm going to have these skills. So that's what you're talking about in the skills discussion. For that section, your references are going to be where you're getting that information from. So it might be prospects, it might be a particular employer's website, it might be some discussion and information about graduate skills. So some of the things I gave you in the employability week, some of the references that are on Moodle, that is how you would reference that section. So you're not just claiming things about the labour market, you're giving us references to show where you got that information and how you're using it. For the critical analysis, this is about your skill set in relation to that. So you're then starting to come into, I've looked at this job or these jobs, these are the core skills that are needed, and here's my skills. And that's when the critical element of it is about you identifying, I'm very, very strong in these areas, but actually in these other areas, I need a bit more development. So that's how you're going to go about doing that. And again, your references are going to be to your appendices. So you're going to relate to your skills audit, you're going to relate to your PDR and your PDP, you're going to be talking about what you've done, what you're going to do, but you're also referencing out to look at what do graduate skills look like against that labour market? There's some stuff in there, sort of references on Moodle about young people and Brexit, about other things. So can you bring that to bear on that, and can you make that useful? Your reflection is then the short reflection on your interview simulation. So you're going to run through the interview simulator tool. We've got a set of core questions. The reflection section is where you really write about how did that feel? So how did it feel sitting in front of a computer answering interview questions? Did you feel that you did a particularly good job of it? Did you have good answers to the questions? Do you feel that you would need a bit more practice? And that's what we want to see in there. So that idea of reflection. Your introduction and conclusion to the document are very short, and that's really just, here's my portfolio, welcome, it's going to include this. Your conclusion, I've looked over this, and this, and you might draw a conclusion. that actually this year I need to do a lot more to get ready for these jobs, or actually I'm pretty sorted and I'm going to focus on getting the grades I need to move into a job. So it's up to you to conclude what you've got out of that portfolio. But those two sections are really small. The reference list, it's an honours piece of work. We're looking for a kind of good quality of references, but also a good breadth of references. So it's not enough to just look at one employer and say, or one particular source of information about jobs and say, this is what it says here. Really, you're looking to go wider on that. And in terms of marks, probably, a pass in this module would kind of cover off the basics. A very good mark, so an A mark sort of would be someone here who's really scanning the environment, who's bringing in multiple references to bear on it, who's really kind of looking across the different jobs, looking at what people are saying in the academic world about employability and about the jobs that are out there and the chances of graduates, but also very analytical about themselves and about their own abilities and where that's going and how they're developing their skills in that year. Just to draw your attention, just in the next page in the module handbook, to the marking grid, and this will be really useful to you. You can see the percentage of marks. So if I was you, I'd be using this to think about my word count. So you get 3,000 words. The appendices are not included in the word count, so think about the rest of that. So critical analysis is a quarter of the assessment marks, should be a quarter of the words. So you're looking to make sure that you're covering things off in there. So hopefully that's helpful to you. I'm just going to pop back out onto the main Moodle page now and have a look at the section. So the module handbook is where the kind of main information is. There's then a section here, Assessment 1 Written Portfolio. You've got your submission box for Turnitin. The instructions for the interview simulator are here. So when you come to do that activity, that's the full instructions for how to log in and how to go about setting it up and carry it out. I've produced a document called Guidelines for Portfolio of Work, and I'm just going to click into that just now. And this is some guidance on the layout and format. So the 4 appendices that are here on this page, so PDR, PDP, Skills Audit and CPD, you're literally just copying and pasting those tables into the appendices of your portfolio. So it's effectively a Word document. I'm just going to open this up. And once it loads, it sort of talks you through an example cover sheet. Which is at the back of it, so you can just lift that into your portfolio. And there's basically a checklist there, so have you done all the bits? Have you included all the bits? A little bit about word count, layout, plagiarism, things like that you know by honours year you should already know, but some really clear guidance on what needs to be in that portfolio and what it looks like. And the reason I've given you the checklist, it's not to be patronising, but actually the students who fail this module and who failed it in previous years have just not followed the instructions. So make sure everything's in there. If you miss the appendices off, for example, that's 20% of your marks that you're not going to get, and that's a really big loss at this particular point in your studies. So the guidelines are there, the appendices outlines are there, and there's activities there that you can do in class that your tutor can take you through as well. So I think that's covered all the kind of general questions I've been getting from students. I hope this is helpful to you. If you've got any other issues, there'll be chances in your tutorial groups next week to spend a bit more time on your appendices and getting these ready, or you can email me and ask directly if you want to. But hopefully I've covered a bit more information to give you advice on your assessment.